Congressman, how concerned are you about cyber attacks here in the U.S.? And the saber rattling has been going on now for the better part of a month. If Putin does do something here in the U.S., if it does happen, how do we respond?
Well, I'm very concerned. I'm the ranking member on the Homeland Security Cybersecurity Infrastructure Subcommittee. It's something that we've been focusing on quite a bit. And we're not waiting to be attacked. We're attacked every day. We have banks, hospitals, all sorts of industry. If anybody remembers the Colonial Pipeline, that was a hack last year that was done with Russian with hackers from Russian soil. SolarWinds was another huge attack that happened to America. So it's not if, it's how many times, and it's about every day we get hit. It's very concerning. The real question is, when will Putin feel like his back is up against the wall, where he hits a water treatment facility, where he hits a power plant, where he hits a hospital? That's what I'm very concerned about.
Right. So very good points. Are you surprised that the United States, especially after those two attacks, Colonial Pipeline and the SolarWinds attack from 2019, that we are not better prepared for future attacks, especially from the same source, Russia?
Well, we have been working on it. Congress has been working very closely with CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, which is a part of Homeland Security. We've been working very closely with them to get prepared, to make sure that private companies that control infrastructure are prepared. We're doing everything we can, but cyber, every day something new can happen.
Right.
What concerns me is last year when President Biden met with Putin and told him to stay away from our infrastructure, it was like, well, what he said was, don't attack our 16 critical infrastructure. I wanted him to say, don't attack us at all, or we're going to come back and attack you. Right now, there are hackers in Russia that are operating freely because Putin hasn't stopped them. The Russian government is probably also attacking us daily because they don't have there's no fear of consequences right now. And that concerns me very much. It should concern everyone.
Yeah, that was very bizarre when he did that in Geneva over the summer. He basically gave Vladimir Putin the playbook. Here's what to attack. 16 entities to attack, not to avoid. What do you make of that, the lack of peace through strength with the way that Joe Biden leads? If this were his predecessor, and by the way, I include Barack Obama and George Bush and Bill Clinton and right on back through this, instead of saying, if you do this, here's what we're going to do to you, he's saying, hey, get ready, America, cyber attacks are coming, which is just weak. Yeah. Nobody wants to hear that, and nobody knows how to deal with that.
Yeah, it is definitely not leadership on this issue. He just sent out a statement last week talking about what we should be doing with cyber. He should have sent that out the first day in office. This is not a new attack. This is not something that we're facing. Like I said, we're being attacked every day by our adversaries, whether it's Iran, Russia, North Korea, China. This is something that's happening every day. People should be prepared for this every day, and we're a little bit behind.
Congressman, I just want to squeeze two more in if we could. The president's got a very big speech in Brussels today, scheduled for about a little over an hour and 40 minutes from right now, about 9:15 a.m. He will speak to NATO in what they're calling an emergency summit 29 days into a war. I don't know how it can be an emergency summit. It was an emergency 29 days ago. But what does the world, what does Vladimir Putin, and what does the president of China need to hear from the American president today?
We need to be stronger. We need to let them know. We need to let Russia know there's going to be consequences for their actions. Right now, it's been a lot of empty words. Look, last week we sent money. We're sending humanitarian aid. We're sending missiles. We're sending weapons to Ukraine. We need to do more. We need to show strength. We need to show strength in numbers. NATO needs to come out together and tell Russia enough is enough. Get out of Ukraine.
So the U.S. Stock Exchange was closed for just about 4 days after 9/11. To put that into perspective, today will be the first day that the Moscow Stock Exchange will reopen. It's been closed for 18 days. And this is one of the largest markets, one of the largest trading exchanges on the entire planet. It's not going to be fully open today. What do you expect to happen in Moscow?
I expect a run on the market. I think a lot of people will be going and selling whatever they can, getting whatever money they can get out of the market. They'll be getting it. I fully expect the market to drop by a lot.
Yeah, 18 days, by the way. That is the longest that a major stock exchange has been closed ever worldwide. And they closed it down right when this all began. That's got to affect the economy and just the morale. Think about people that work in banking over there in major cities, Congressman. Unbelievable.